good afternoon, good evening, everyone, depending on where you are in the world. Thank you so much for being with us today. And I'm absolutely delighted that we have so many friends joining our virtual field trip to India. As we know, COVID has been incredibly challenging for all of us in many ways, but it has also forced us to embrace technology. And as a result, we can take many more of you to India in an environmentally friendly way than we could have physically. There will also be no jet lag, no carbon footprint, and you can go there and back within the hour. This will all, of course, be subject to internet connectivity actually working in the villages today, but I have my fingers crossed.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome to India. Welcome to Bengal. Welcome to the farmers. They're eagerly waiting to meet and see you all. Thank you. Thank you.
Chandrani is actually in a village, so I'm just so thrilled, Chandrani. It's worked. We've got you online.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Some of our farmers have gathered together here and the team is all there. So we are going to meet everybody. So they are all excited. I'm excited.
Excellent. Well, we'll be with you shortly. So I'd also like to introduce you to some of our field supervisors in West Bengal. We currently work in 5 locations or within 100 kilometers of Kolkata, and each location is headed up by one field supervisor. So I'm going to introduce you to Patu, Shantu, Tapash, Syed, and Rishinga. Namaste.
Namaskar.
Namaskar.
This is Patho.
Namaskar.
So I'm today at Patho's location.
Perfect. Thank you, Patu.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Hi, Tapash.
Hi, madam. Yes.
Lovely, thank you. So each field supervisor is in charge of a team of up to 10 what we call livelihood service providers. And they are out in the villages 6 days a week delivering our livelihood service to the poorest people in West Bengal. And today we have 5 of them joining us. Rafiq, Tapash again, Rajesh, Jahinga, and Gawa.
So this is Rafiq.
Namaskar, ma'am.
Namaskar, Rafiq.
Namaskar.
This is Taposh.
Namaskar, ma'am.
Namaskar, Tapash.
Jahangir.
Namaskar, madam.
Namaskar.
Go. And Rajesh.
Namaskar, ma'am.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you all for joining us. We've also started replicating our agri-management services program in the neighbouring state of Odisha, which was formerly known as Orissa. Some of you might know it as Orissa. And this state is extremely poor, and the farmers there will really benefit from our services. Over 32% of Odisha's population still lives below the national poverty line. So we have teamed up with the NGO Views to deliver our AMS agri-management services program there. So Bhima, namaste.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Namaste,
Bhima.
I'm from Odisha, India. Thank you so much.
Great to see you, Bhima. And hello, namaste, Milan, Pradeep, Chitrasen, and Shushil, the new staff in Orissa.
Namaste, ma'am.
Namaste.
Namaste, ma'am.
So it's just amazing to think some of us are in England, some in Calcutta, some in Mumbai, some in Orissa, some in Bengal. It's just fantastic to have you all here. So just before we start our journey, I have a poll for you to participate in so we can think about the scale of the problem of poverty in India. There are nearly 1.4 billion people in India, of which 99 million live in the state of West Bengal. And just as a context, there are only 68 million people in the whole of the UK. So of those 99 million people in West Bengal, how many do you think live below the poverty line? Is it 5 million, 10 million, 20 million? No consulting with Google. And here are our results. So the answer is just under 20 million. That is nearly a third of the UK population. The numbers are staggering and show the need for organisations such as Shivia to help some of these extremely poor families. So let's start our journey with Chandrani from Calcutta to the villages where some of these people live. Troy, over to you, please. I hope that gave you a sense of what the journey might feel like for Chandrani and the team who go on a regular basis. And for those who have done the journey or know India, a reminder of the crowds, the energy, the different forms of transport, the hustle and bustle, and then the peace of the villages. So we're going to first talk to our LSPs, Tapash and Rafiq, who will tell you about what life has been like during the COVID pandemic. You will all have seen the devastation caused in India last May, when the second wave of COVID ripped through the country. There was a lack of oxygen, a lack of hospital beds, and people were left grieving for their loved ones next to makeshift crematoriums. For our team, the last 18 months or so have been dominated by national and local lockdowns. Yet they've had to provide our usual services along with COVID relief efforts to help our farmers whose lives have not just been shattered by COVID, but also two extreme cyclones during that period. I have been so proud of their can-do attitude. And we've all witnessed at Shivia the best in humanity. They've got out there and gone above and beyond to help the communities to recover. Chandrani, over to you.
So today I am talking to Taposh Mondol. He is one of our LSPs, livelihood service providers at Shundia location. And he has been with his team, been through a lot during the last 2 years almost now, both COVID pandemic as well as two cyclones, Amphan and Yash. Taposh, what have you done when you heard that there is going to be a lockdown in the month of March in 2020?
আমরা যেটা করতাম পুরো টিম নিয়ে যখন লকডাউন হয়ে গেল তারপর থেকে আমরা ফোনে গাইড করতাম।
So Taposh is saying that as soon as they came to hear that there is going to be a complete lockdown and severe restrictions to move around in the villages, he went to meet all his farmers and advise them on what and how they need to do in such a situation. So he told them that he's always available on the phone and that they can call anytime, 24 hours, 7 days a week, to ask him for help, for advice, for services, for training, and he is going to guide them on video calls, on phone calls, and he did exactly that. Here in the second pandemic attack, he himself got affected by COVID. So let us hear from Taposh how he coped with that situation when he was himself a COVID patient and what happened at that time.
আমার যখন কোভিড হয় কোভিডে আমি আক্রান্ত হয়ে গেলাম, সবাইকে করেছে। আমারই কলিগ রফিক আছে, রফিক আমার কাজগুলো করে দিত, প্লাস আমার যে যত ফার্মার ছিল সব ভিজিট ও করতো, ও টোটালি করতো। এবং
Taposh is telling us that this is Rafiq. He is one of the senior most LSPs in the team who joined us in 2014. So both of them are great friends as well. So Rafiq helped Taposh during the pandemic, not only helping him personally by taking him to the doctor or taking his reports, bringing medicines home, vegetables, groceries home, but also by visiting Taposh's farmers. Rafiq has provided great support during the period when he was affected with COVID. And that is why, only because of Rafiq's support and other team members' support, he was able to handle the situation and cope up with the dreaded COVID. তোমরা যখন কোভিড হয়েছিল আমরা কিছু ফার্মারদেরকে হেল্প করার জন্য কিছু জিনিসপত্র দিয়েছিলাম, একটু যদি বল।
মাস্ক ছিল, হ্যান্ড স্যানিটাইজার, সাবান ছিল, কিছু খাবার ছিল।
Okay, so what Rafiq and Taposh have done as well as the entire team members is during COVID period, we have distributed some masks, some dry foods and soap, hand sanitizers to the farmers. And these are the people who actually took them to the farmers and distributed to them. So this is how our team of LSPs, who we are very, very proud of, has helped the farmers, and this is how they themselves cope with the situation. Thank you.
Thank you, Tapash and Rafiq. Your work has been exemplary. I hope you can hear me. There you are. Thank you. So as well as what Tapash and Rafiq told you, we've also ensured that all of the Nurden team were insured so that they could get access to COVID tests as well as support if they fell ill. And several of our team did actually fall very ill, but thankfully they've all pulled through. So now we're going to visit two farmers on our Poultry Development Services programme. We refer to this as PDS, and it is our flagship programme. As a quick introduction or recap to those of you who know PDS, we mainly target very poor women and train them in how to start and run a poultry enterprise from home. We also provide them with a poultry toolkit comprising 10 one-day-old chicks, feed, vaccinations, and medicine. After roughly 2 years, once the women have the confidence and the knowledge to run the enterprise, we put them into groups of roughly 15 farmers so they can go and get the toolkit parts on their own at wholesale prices and have a sustainable enterprise that they can run without the need for our intervention. The impact of PDS is really staggering. And one of the most amazing things is that during COVID, the women used their money to pay for mobile phone data so that their children could access online learning. Without this, they would simply have dropped out of school, probably never to return. And for the first time in 20 months, schools have just reopened this week in West Bengal. And so it's really wonderful that so many of our farmers' children can and have returned. So now, before we go to the field, we're going to do a very quick poll so you can get a feel for the numbers involved in our PDS programme. So the question is, since 2011, when we launched PDS, how many chicks do you think we have delivered? 10,000, 100,000, or 1 million? So you will have a lot of confidence in us. And yes, the answer is 1 million chicks. So that is over 100,000 toolkits to 15,600 families in over 1,500 villages of West Bengal. And 1,000 of those farmers have now become completely independent of Shivia, which we are really proud of. So now I'm going to hand you over to Chandrani to introduce you to one of our farmers, Punima, who's been on our PDS programme now for 2.5 years at Sundia location. Punima is with our field supervisor, Pato, and our LSP, Rafiq, who you've already met. Thank you, Chandrani. Thank you, Punima.
Hi again. So today I am with Purnima. This is Purnima Boddo. This is her son Bapun Boddo. And this is her husband Bapi Boddo. They are very, very excited and gathered here together to show us how well they have done for their poultry enterprise and how it has helped them greatly, especially during the COVID period in year 2020 and 21. Purnima is with us for 2.5 years now. And she was her family was one of the poorest families in this location. And we started helping her 2.5 years back when she was taking 10 and 20 chicks. But now, with the help of her husband, she has actually made this coop. You can see this coop with low cost input materials like bamboo, plastic, and other scraps. And this is a very large, well-done coop. She has sold her latest batch of chickens, and she will show us how she works inside the coop and what her daily life is. So Purnima is inside the coop. This is her daily work. She's feeding them. And this is Bapun, her son. She has 2 sons. This is the elder one who helps his mom look after the chickens. And this is Bapi. Bapi is her husband. And during the COVID pandemic, he used to work in a construction factory as a laborer, and he lost his job and did not have any income for the family. So at that point of time, he came home jobless. Purnima helped him buy some materials for starting another enterprise, which is a grocery store, which I'll show you, which is from the premises of her own home, as well as they have started taking chickens, more number of chickens to start a poultry enterprise of their own. And gradually in 6 months' time, she is now completely independent of our support and doing poultry of 200, 300 chickens in each batch by herself. She is supporting her family of 2 children, where she recharges mobile data for their online education. They are both school-going children. The younger one is not here right now. He's playing somewhere. So the elder one is a very, very disciplined boy, and he's here posing, very excited meeting all of you. So we'll just have a look at her small grocery shop. So this is her shop. This is a window of her home, and she's selling her grocery from here. Chips, little sweets, little bit of everything which you can, the local families, households around can purchase from here. Purnima, তুমি খুশি? ভালো হয়েছে? চিকেন ফার্মিং করে তুমি খুশি? এটা স্টার্ট করেছো খুশি? বাপুন খুশি তো? বাপি এটা করতে পারে আপনি খুশি? নমস্কার।
নমস্কার।
So over to Ollie.
Thank you so much, Purnima and your family. That was wonderful to see you in person and see your shop and your poultry enterprise, and congratulations on becoming independent. So thank you, Chandrani.
Thank you.
Now we're going to show you, thank you. So now we're going to show you a recording of Sophia, another inspiring farmer who has also become independent of Shivia. So over to you, Toro, to show Sophia.
So here I am with Sophia, and I'm going to tell you a wonderful story, a very, very inspiring story about Sophia and her family, how they managed to cope during COVID times when her husband lost whatever job he was doing in the city. He was working in a hand glove factory and lost his job last year during the pandemic and came home without any kind of income. So it was at that time that Sophia had helped him, supported him by handing over some of her profits from the income that she made from her poultry enterprise. And he started a business of his own for the family, thereby supporting all of them, including the children and their education. So we are now going to go and have a look at what and how they have coped up and done during the COVID times, during the pandemic, to save themselves from poverty. This is the story I was talking about. So this is her grocery store, and this is Ansar Ali, and this is the front portion of their house where he has set up this grocery store selling savories and sweets, chips, fritters, little bit of spices, wheat, rice, potatoes, onions, etc. Now we are going to take a look at the place where they stay. A pond here which get awfully flooded during the rainy season, and this is the outside of their house, and this is Shivia standing in front of her one room house, and here you can see the grocery store where Ansar is sitting waiting for customers. This is our team of LSPs who have supported them immensely during the pandemic, given them not only support in terms of expanding their enterprise, their poultry enterprise, and starting a new shop, but also educated them on how to cope with COVID as an illness, as a disease. And our team has also provided them with masks, sanitizers, dry foods. In whatever way possible, we have helped them to cope with the situation, and today they are in a position where they are comparatively much better. So here I am with this wonderful story, a success story of Shivia and her husband Ansar, and how they have survived, not only survived, and did very, very well even during the hardships of the COVID pandemic. Thank you, Shivia. Thank you very much. Bhalo thako.
Thank you so much, Sophia and Chandrani. And one of the amazing things about the poultry development services is that the skills and the confidence and the knowledge the women gain gives them also entrepreneurial skills where they're able to start up these second enterprises like the shop, which between the combination of the poultry money and the their second enterprise, they really are able to provide better futures for themselves. So those real entrepreneurial skills that they're learning. So thank you, Sophia. Well done. And now we're going to go over to our agricultural program, which we call AMS. And Joe will explain the program, and then we will talk to our AMS farmers who are waiting for us in their fields. But Joe, before I hand over to you, I'm going to do one last poll for today to focus on the number of people we have served through AMS. So the question is, since 2014, when we started AMS, how many families do you think we have serviced? 500, 2,000, 500, or 6,500? Okay, thank you, everybody. So 68% of you are correct. We've now serviced 6,500 families. But the amazing thing about this program is that we've actually benefited way more people than that, because whole communities have now changed the way they farm from seeing the results of the farmers on our program. And this program is actually particularly important because it's all about affordable and environmentally friendly sustainable farming. And given climate change and the need for action, as highlighted only last week at COP26, this program really is very, very impactful and powerful. So Joe, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Ollie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Our Agri Management Services Program, or popularly known as AMS, is all about sustainable farming for the small and marginal farmers. Now, these small farmers were leaving their land and moving to the cities for better opportunities because it was no longer profitable for them. So we have come up with a 5-step approach which will help these farmers to get out of poverty. So the first one is soil testing. We do the soil testing for the farmers to ensure that the soil has the right nutrients for the crop that he wants to grow. The second thing that we do is we get these farmers into small groups, about 15 to 25 farmers in each group. And then we connect them to the input suppliers like the seeds, fertilizers, and pesticides, instead of an individual person or individual farmer going and buying it from a retailer. So this helps in cutting down the costs for the farmer. The third thing that we do is we open the bank accounts for this group so that these farmers can deposit small amounts of money every month in that bank account and utilize that funds during the harvesting season or the sowing season, instead of going to the money lenders and taking loans at very high interest rates. The fourth thing that we do is these farmers have been using chemical fertilizers in their soil for many years, which have destructed the soil. So we are training these farmers to move away from these chemicals and start using the biopesticides and biofertilizers. In fact, we also train them on how to make them so that it can cut down the cost drastically, and it's almost zero cost. It's easily available leaves, cow dung, cow urine, etc. And the fifth thing that we do is we connect these farmers to various government programs. So now what happens is that there are various government programs which our farmers are not aware of. So our field team actually goes to these government offices, finds out what is available for the farmers, and connect them to these farmers. So usually these government people provide free seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, various training programs, crop insurance, etc. Now with these 5 steps, we are able to achieve 3 things or 3 benefits. First, we are able to reduce the cost of production for the farmer in terms of the crop that he is growing. And we've seen that it's about 15 to 20% depending on which crop he's growing. The second, we are seeing that the yield of the crop has increased by another 15 to 20%. So these 2 steps helps the farmer to increase their profits by 30 to 40%. Again, depending which crop the farmer is growing and which season it is. And the third thing which Ollie touched upon is the environment friendly. Since we are moving them away from using chemical fertilizers and pesticides, and they are using this biopesticides and biofertilizers, which is good for the environment. Now, as Ollie mentioned, we've touched the lives of 6,500 people plus many, many more. I mean, I would like to stick out my neck here and say at least 3 to 4 times of the number that we have actually trained. So at least 20 to 22,000 people or farmers have inculcated the training program of us, and they have incorporated that in their fields, even though they are not our farmers directly. So as a whole village, it has benefited. And at this moment, I would like to thank you everyone for your support, without which I don't think this would have been possible. Thank you, and back to you, Ollie.
Thank you, Joe. Now, Joe is very modest. So Joe, you say 22,000. I'll stick my neck out even more and say at least 50,000. It really is staggering that when you start saying the community's changing the way they farm. So we're now going to go back to Sindhya location, where we're going to meet Joydeep, one of our farmers, who Joe has spoken to about his guava farms through using our AMS techniques.
Right now, I am in Shundia, the guava field, the guava farm, which belongs to Joydeep Biswas. This is the farmer who had enrolled in our program about 2 years ago. At that point of time, he was hardly making any profits from this farm. Then it was Gaur, our livelihood service provider Gaur, who explained to him the benefits of joining our program. And after that, the farmer enrolled in the program, followed all the protocols, all the trainings that we provided to him. And now after 2 years, if you see the quality of this tree, the stem is so healthy. The leaves are lush green. And the fruits, the guava, Joydeep says that after enrolling in our program, and it's been about 2 years now, he's making a profit about 30 to 40% higher compared to what he was doing before he enrolled in our program. Now what I would like to do is compare this farm with another guava farm which does not belong to our farmer. So what I'll do is I'll just pluck one of the leaves from here so that I can compare it with the other farmer's guava field. Now this is the place where Joydeep used to make the biopesticides and biofertilizers, and he used to put this in these guava trees. But for the last couple of days it has been raining very badly, and hence it's flooded with water right now. Now let's move to another farmer's field. Now this is the guava farm of another farmer who is not enrolled in our program. Now if you see the trunk, just one stem here, and it is so thin. And if you see the leaves, they are drying up much smaller compared to our field farmer. I'll just pluck one leaf from here, and if you can see the comparison, the difference. And now the fruit. There's hardly any fruits in this tree. Yeah, there's one fruit in this tree. So by joining our program, many farmers have benefited from this.
Thank you, Joe. And now, Chandrani, are you with Joydeep?
Yes, yes. I am with Joydeep.
Excellent. Hi, Joydeep. And Chandrani,
And this is
would you be able to ask Joydeep how he feels that the AMS has maybe changed his life or helped him?
আচ্ছা এইটা করে এই আমাদের অ্যাগ্রি প্রোগ্রাম করে আপনার লাইফে কি কি চেঞ্জ হয়েছে, কিরকম আপনার বেনিফিট হচ্ছে?
আগে যে পরিমাণ ফসল ফলতো তার তুলনায় 30 থেকে 40% ফসল উৎপাদন আরো বেড়েছে, এবং ইনকামও আগের তুলনায় 30 থেকে 40% বেড়েছে।
ছেলে মেয়ে কি হয়েছে কিছু করেছে?
যেগুলো আর কি আগে পড়াশোনার ক্ষেত্রে বাচ্চা কাচ্চার সমস্যা ছিল, পয়সা ইনকাম কম ছিল, এখন ইনকামটা অনেকটা বেড়েছে এবং জমির উর্বরতাটা অনেকটা বেড়েছে।
Okay, what Joydeep says is like he got at least 30 to 40% increase in his yield of guavas, and profits have also increased a lot. Therefore, the children for whom he could not spend, especially in the festival times, and he could not buy things or buy extra books for their education, he is able to do that right now. He's saying parashuna is education, studies. So he's saying he's now got enough money to be able to continue their education, and God has helped him a lot. So he's very proud of God, who has taught him all this. Extremely proud and very happy. Khushi to? Eh?
হ্যাঁ ম্যাম।
Okay, you can't see him smiling his mask all the time. So all our team members are keeping on wearing masks. So our strict instructions and all our manuals have actually worked very well, I see. Now I'm violating those manual rules, and they are all following them.
I told you to take your mask off at the beginning. You need to put it back on again. So thank you very much, Joydeep, and congratulations. And I think you look extremely smart in your shirt today as well. So thank you. And well done. So and congratulations, Gawa, on your amazing work. So finally, we're going to take
Thank you, madam.
Okay, thank you. So finally, we're going to take you over to Odisha. And this is really exciting for us, as we have started replicating our agri-management services program there to 400 extremely poor families who will really benefit. And this is based off our tried and tested models that you've seen in West Bengal. So as I explained earlier, Odisha is the neighbouring state to Bengal, and Joe has been in charge of finding the right implementation partner, identifying the villages, the farmers, recruiting the staff, conducting the initial baseline surveys, all against the backdrop of local and national lockdowns. So we will Now I'll show you a recording of Joe at Views with the team and the farmers there, as despite efforts, I know that the internet connectivity isn't strong enough to do it live.
Hi everyone. Currently, I am here in Odisha, where we are replicating our Agri Management Services program. Here, we have partnered with an organization called Views, whose founder is Bhima. He's also the director of the organization.
Hi everybody. Hi.
And right now, we are in a village which we have selected to replicate our Agri Management Services program. And this is the field team that will be replicating our Agri Management Services program in Odisha. This is Milan, the
Namaste.
supervisor, and this is Pradut,
Namaskar.
and this is Chitra Sen, who are the two LSPs or the livelihood service providers who will be going into the villages and getting the community together. And this is the village. And these are the people that we'll be working with. This is the first time Shivia is partnering with an organization beyond West Bengal, and we are very excited about it. Now, these 400 families belong to the scheduled tribes, which are the most neglected people in the society. In fact, they belong to the bottom of the pyramid in the caste system, and hardly any government resources or programs reach there. I am confident that with our training and knowledge, these farmers' income will increase 30 to 40%. And most importantly, we will be providing them lifelong skills so that they can earn their income with dignity for years to come. Thank you.
So thank you, Joe, and everyone in Odisha. So we're really so excited that our work is expanding to other extremely poor areas of India without all the admin and bureaucracy of starting up our own organization each time. So it's really a very scalable model. Thank you, Bhima, and just good luck to Milan, Pradeep, Chitrasen, who are all
Thank you, ma'am.
replicating it. Oh yes, hi. Thank you, Milan.
Namaste, ma'am.
Namaskar.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Bhima. I'm really excited to see you when I come in January. So I hope that gives you all a sense of the work we are doing, and most importantly, the impact of our PDS and AMS programs in both Bengal and now Orissa. I'll also mention that we are also working with South, an NGO in Gujarat and Rajasthan, with our cooks training and beautypreneurs program, but we didn't have time to take you there today as well, because I wanted to leave 10 minutes of Q&A at the end. So I would be delighted to take any questions, as would Joe, Chandrani, Victoria. And so you can put them in the chat function if you want, or you can unmute yourselves and ask them out loud.
And do turn on your video if you're happy to do so. I can see quite a few people's faces, but I'd love to take a few screenshots of everyone. That's great. I'm gonna. There we go. Ollie, can you monitor the chat while I take a few screenshots?
Yes, I can. Does anyone have any? Lindsay, I think you have a question.
Yeah, Ollie, thank you as ever. That was fantastic. It really was. You used the word exemplary earlier, but I think, you know, the way you communicate, or the way you do what you do, and then the way you communicate it is exemplary. So thank you so much for that to you and all your team. I was just wondering, it just occurred to me, with the agri-management services, I mean, there's such a clear benefit between neighbouring farms that is it a case that you just can't take on more farms, or is there still some sort of reticence on the part of some farmers to join in? But when they see the obvious evidence of their neighbour doing so well, does it not just lead to them sort of definitely wanting to be part of the programme?
Yeah, so thank you, Lindsay. So there are two parts to that question. The first is that whenever we do start a new program in a new area, it is always quite slow because you know, you need the first sort of slightly bolder people to come forward. And then, as you say, when others start seeing it, the demand increases very rapidly. one of the techniques or the things we've learned to do is when we go to a new area, we take new farmers to our existing operations so they can see it, because seeing really is believing. And so, for example, with Odisha, actually in the first week of December, we're taking the new staff, but also some of the new farmers over to Bengal to see the program, so they can really see the benefits. And then it's really word of mouth, and the message spreads very quickly. So then over to your second part of the question, which is not a hint, everybody, but we are limited by funds, so we can only actually roll out the programs according to the amount of money we have, and also there is obviously the capacity of manpower. Not that there's a shortage of people in India with 1.38 billion people, but there is also, we obviously have to train staff properly, and so we're slightly limited by the number of staff we have to deliver, and also the funds we have to expand.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So I can see something from Vimla coming in the chat. Are you planning to develop, I'll read it so everyone can hear. Are you planning to develop an app that can help all the farmers on a wider basis? Vimla, we have thought about using technology more, and we were in conversations with Tata TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, last year about using technology more. The problem is most of our farmers are actually still illiterate, so it's hard for them to use apps, and not all of them have smartphones. We can do it pictorially, of course, and it's something which we are always thinking about. But it's a good point, and we keep coming back to this topic of using more technology.
Ollie?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, I interrupted you. No, I thought you'd finished. Finish what you were saying.
No, please ask.
No, you were, you had started some work in Gujarat recently.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't touch on that today. You spoke about West Bengal and Odisha, but you didn't talk about Gujarat at all, really. Not in depth, anyway. I mean,
yes,
I wasn't expecting a tour of Gujarat, but...
Yeah, the reason we didn't talk about Gujarat and Rajasthan is for two reasons. First of all, I wanted to get you all to India and back within the hour, because I know everyone has very busy lives, and to leave a few minutes for questions. But also the work in Gujarat and Rajasthan is with the partner SAF, and it's still about training people to have livelihoods with dignity. So we're training young girls to be cooks, so they can learn how to cook hygienically, and more recipes, so that they're already sort of housemaids, but they can upskill and earn higher wages. And we're also training girls to become beautypreneurs, is what we call them. So they can, learn how to do different beauty services, which is obviously, they're obviously in high demand in Gujarat. But that really is one of SAF's programs which we're supporting, whereas the work in Bengal and Odisha are our own programs which we have developed. So that's why we focused on those today.
I see. Good. Thank you.
I've got something from Carrie Cardew here. Hi, Carrie, lovely to have you here. Do you have connections with the various government departments responsible for farming to highlight the success of biofertilizers and to roll it out with their support? So, Carrie, the politics of India is quite interesting. So it's quite, we've always stayed away from, I've got to be quite careful in this school about politics and governments. We don't work with the government in Bengal. But we set up last year an organization in Mumbai called Shivia Livelihoods Foundation. And we are actually right now about to start conversations with the government in Maharashtra, which the state Mumbai sits in, about them. They already provide chickens and goats to very poor families, but the chickens and goats often die. So we're quite keen to share with them our knowledge of our poultry program. And we also have run a goat program in Bengal, so that the knowledge will enable those programs to be successful. So I think there will be more connections with government programs in Mumbai if that goes ahead. And in terms of the biofertilizers and rolling that out, that we'll have to take that up. Yes, Colin.
3 years ago, you talked about setting up fish farming in Bengal. And I asked whether there was enough water just in the rainy season or not. And I'm wondering if you've had to give up on that for whatever reason. Could you enlighten me on that one?
Yes, so we did the research into fish farming because, as you say, in Bengal there is a lot of water. It's one thing they don't lack, and many farmers have backyard ponds and they make their livelihoods from fishing. But the techniques they were using meant they weren't optimizing, the amount of fish or the quality fish they could have got from their ponds, and the pollution levels were very high. But we then COVID hit, and we had to, as a board, we made the decision that we wanted to ensure, we didn't know what was going to go on with fundraising and the landscape, but we wanted to absolutely ensure that all the beneficiaries we worked with, we would be able to continue working with. So we decided to park the fish farming pilot for the moment. And since then, we've actually come up with this more scalable model of replicating our agri-management and poultry services through other organizations. So I think we're going to stick with that strategy for the moment.
Thank you.
Max, yes. Max, I can't quite hear you.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Better, yeah. So kind of looking 5 to 10 years ahead, how do you see the support Shivia provides and the strategy alter?
Well, I think that now we've hit on this, as I said, this model of other NGOs taking our knowledge, taking our models and scaling them out. I think we've finally hit on a really great model that we can go way beyond our own team in Bengal. So I think that what we're going to be spending our time doing is finding small organizations that are very aligned to us culturally, very aligned to us in mission, like Views, who you've seen today, and are working, they might not be well-known organizations, but they're really working with extremely poor people, and we'll be training them to replicate our models. So I think that's the service we're aiming to roll out. But Joe Chandrani, if you have anything you want to add or I've missed, please jump in, because Joe, you've got great vision.
But I actually did not get the question. I mean, the volume was so low, I could not hear.
Well, the question is, how do we see in 5 to 10 years' time that our services, that our strategy, or how we see our services rolling out?
Oh, okay. So I think we are clear on that we want to go asset light model where we can replicate our time-tested programs in Bengal. The poultry program has been there for 10 years in Bengal. The agriculture program has been there in almost 7 years now. And that has been time-tested and it has been running successfully. So now Shivia's approach is that we can expand that in the other neighboring states, the poverty corridor, like Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, or maybe even the northeastern states. So that is the priority based on our discussions with Shivia board. I don't have anything else to add on.
Thank you, Joe. So I can see a question from John Renix in the chat about the cascade down to grocery stores, in particular education is very impressive. One concern is that there's no mention of vaccinations, and COVID has not gone away without high levels of vaccination. Is there any help we can give to promote? So Chandrani, you might want to comment on this, because one thing before you do is that there was great reticence for vaccinations at the beginning, combined with the fact that in India people could pay for them. So often those at the bottom just couldn't access them, they ran out. But now there's been a huge push to roll out the vaccination, and our farmers are actually, and other communities being vaccinated. So Chandrani, would you like to comment on that? Because obviously it's crucial for managing this COVID pandemic.
Yes, Ollie, yes. Actually, to answer your question, yes, previously there was a shortage of vaccinations in the villages, but right now the state government here, especially after the elections in the month of May, they have been very proactive, and now they're rolling out vaccines to the local panchayats and to the local government offices. So most of our farmers and all our LSPs have been vaccinated at least one shot. And in the month of November and December, they are going to complete the second shot as well as the greater community of other families also. Most of them have completed their vaccinations. We have also in the month of October and even some in September, we have joined hands with one club in the city called the Lions Club, and they have also arranged vaccination for some of our team members who could not manage to get vaccinated in the villages. So many of our LSPs and supervisors came and got their first shot of vaccines there.
Yeah, I will also add that, with a population in India of 1.38 billion people, it's for 3 days to get her first vaccination. 3 days. So you can see why people don't necessarily want to go and get it if they're trying to work or earn a livelihood. They couldn't take 3 days off. Chandrani, how was that? You were in the queue. You showed me video footage of you in the queue, and your husband.
Yes.
Places in the queue.
And that's in the middle of the city. Like, I am in the middle of the city, and apparently there were a lot of vaccines available. But when we actually went to the spot, we saw a very different scenario, and we had to be in queue for 2 nights. I mean, not at a stretch, but in the daytime, we used to come home and again go back in the evening, say around 10:30, 11 in the night, and then stay there for 3:34 in the morning to be able to get a token for the next day vaccination. So 2 days we could not pass through 100 people, but on the 3rd day we were 52 and 53, so we could manage to get our vaccines then. So it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
So you can see why there was a whole combination of whether it's because you don't believe in vaccinations, whether you've never had vaccinations before, whether you couldn't afford them, whether the queues were just too long to go. But I think, John, that has now definitely been overcome, and it's quite incredible that the rollout now. Okay, does anybody have anything they would like to ask? Yes, Colin.
I wonder if it's possible to link up with any NGOs near Calcutta, which might run mobile health clinics. We use them in Africa a lot, and I just wonder if there are clinics run out through ambulances, which could come to the villages, and you could link up with them, because then you'd have a comprehensive program of health for COVID or whatever diseases, plus all your other projects, which are wonderful. And that would be a much more comprehensive service. I just wonder if that's possible.
Thank you, Colin. Well, Vasant, who's NERDM's chairman, he's always linking up with local organisations to, so like through link-ups, we provided menstrual health camps. We provided, using all our staff and our outreach, the NERD provided health camps, pop-up eye clinics, and in terms, I think you're talking about vaccinations here. I'll definitely put it to him. But we do that to leverage the staff and leverage our NMAR reach to the beneficiaries. Now, what I'm going to do, because it's 10 o'clock, so some people have to leave, and anyone's welcome to stay on to talk to us after. But before, I don't want to lose everyone before we've managed to.
I've taken some screenshots.
A screenshot.
If everyone does put their video on, it'll look much better. I'm just going to just put something in the chat now. Actually, we've entered into the Charity Film Awards with our little animated video that was done for us by a company called Breton, which was very kind of them, and we've put that forward into the Charity Film Awards. So if everyone votes for it on that link I've just put in the chat, you click on the link, it'll bring up the category, and then you scroll down to S for Shivia, and there it is. And it's very, very easy to vote. And if we get through the first round, well, we get to the second round. Who knows what happens next?
And one last thing I'd like to mention is that, Lindsay, slightly to your question, but COVID has had a real impact on fundraising for the charity sector, with lots of events being cancelled. Our House of Commons, which was always hosted by Max Patel, was cancelled again this year, but we are hoping to have it next May as things get brighter. But in the meantime, we are putting a lot of effort into the Big Give Christmas Challenge, which starts running next week from the 30th of November to the 2nd of December. And we need to raise £22,500 online that week to release our £22,500 match funding. So I'd really appreciate if you could if we send the link, just forward it to anybody, because any combination or contribution really makes a difference. And I know I have some of our pledgers on the call today who enabled us to even participate in the competition. So thank you very much. That's right. Do you want to do your...
I'm going to do one screenshot now. Shall we just all wave?
Yeah, okay.
Hi, everybody. Okay. And then there's actually 2 pages here. So I'm going to just take another one of page 2 waving.
Page 2. I don't know which page anyone's.
You're on page. Yeah, that's great. I've got you. That's really cool. Thank you.
So thank you very much, everybody, for giving us your time today. As I said, if anyone would like to ask any more questions, I'll stay on. But otherwise, everyone else, please feel free to. I promise you I'll get you to India and back within the hour. So I need to stick to it.
Yeah, well done.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everybody.